Humanity Matters.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's podcast, Legacy Chronicles, honoring the past, shaping the future. I'm your host, Donna Rosenblum, at the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center, and today I have the privilege, the really great privilege, of having Joan Arnay Halperin as our guest today. Joan, welcome to our podcast. So happy to have you.
Thank you, Donna. I am privileged to be here.
Yes, and we have a lot of things to talk about in a very short amount of time, but we will probably be doing multiple podcasts, so not to worry. Anyway, we're going to start off by talking about your parents and their story, which is every Holocaust survivor story, every second generation story is unique, but yours is definitely a little more unique than others. So tell me how your parents' journey of how they left Europe, where they went, very brief. I know we're leaving out a lot, but a very brief snippet of what they went through.
Okay.
Okay, I know it's a challenge. Okay.
My father was a Polish Jew from Warsaw, living in Belgium.
Okay.
And working in Belgium. My mother was a Polish Jew in Łódź. That's Lodz. Mm-hmm. In 1935, my father came back for Pesach, and somebody said, I have a beautiful woman for you to meet in Łódź. They had a blind date. After 1 week, he said to her, Hala, I love you, and I won't go back to Belgium without you. That was in May-ish, and then on August the 11th in 1935, they were married. Mm-hmm. They went back to Belgium. He took her away from her family. It wasn't so hard for her because she had already studied for 1 year in Belgium, studied French. But in September, when they left, and to go to Belgium, they went through Germany, of course, by car, and that was when the Nuremberg laws were put into effect. Right. So right at the almost the start, maybe, of Hitler's. Right,
and it was right before the Olympics, too. Right? Didn't they have a picture posing?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Later on. My
yeah.
father brought them to the Olympic. He loved sports.
Yeah. So the Berlin Olympics of 36. So
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yes. So from Belgium, what happened?
Well, on May the 10th in 1940, in Belgium in 1938, they went back home to Łódź for my mother to give birth to my sister Yvonne. June the 1st, 1938. Mm-hmm. And then they went back to Belgium. In 1940, May the 10th.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, beginning of May. May 10th is when they invaded Holland.
May the 10th.
So it's probably the
same.
same.
Yes, the bombs started to fall, and that's when my father said, we're getting out of here. It's very lucky that he had a very strong car because his brother Henry had already departed earlier when the Olympics were on in the United States. Mm-hmm. And he sold his car to my father, so he had this very strong Mercedes. He took my mother, their baby, his brother Hipek, Zosha, and his mother who was visiting at the time. Mm-hmm. So she was saved. Mm-hmm.
And they went from Belgium to...
Down through France to Bordeaux, where they had the good fortune of that many survivors had the good fortune to be saved by the Portuguese consul in Bordeaux, France, Aristides de Sousa Mendes. We say Mendes, but they say Mendes. Okay,
who gave them visas?
He collaborated with their Rabbi Kruger to give them visas. So it was a collaboration between Christians and Jews.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm interested in.
Right, and that saved your family.
And that saved my family. So they went to Portugal.
They went to Portugal, and then from Portugal, they made their way to...
They were in Portugal for 18 months.
Okay.
Because nobody wanted them.
Okay.
Nobody. They tried here and there, and they couldn't get in anywhere. Finally, the Germans were making lists of... The Nazis were making lists of Jews, Polish Jews, still in Portugal. And so the highest, the British government in exile, and evacuated them to Jamaica, British West Indies. And that's where my parents' tragedy happened.
Right. So, so I know that's just a little snippet of the story. And you were born in the United States later. So your parents were in Jamaica, West Indies, and then made their way to the United States, where you were born and had no knowledge of any of these things.
No.
But we use the terminology that you're a second generation Holocaust survivor, your parents being survivors. When did you, like at what age or when can you articulate when you knew that your parents were survivors? Were they part of a survivor community? Obviously, they spoke different languages. Was it 5, 6, 10? When did you know? Now, I know your parents like vacationed in the Poconos and other places with a survivor community, but what age do you remember? If you can kind of,
I
or an event.
Yes. Yes, there was an event.
Yes.
But in general, my parents thought of themselves as the lucky ones. Mm-hmm. They never thought, my mother never thought she was a survivor.
Right.
Never.
Right.
All her friends spoke either Polish or French.
Okay. Any Yiddish?
No.
No. Okay.
Polish or French.
French.
They had accents, and even in Sheepshead Bay, where we had the most wonderful Jewish community where we lived, mm-hmm. They were different. They were the ones with the Polish accents, mm-hmm. and I would say Polish is my first or second language. Mm-hmm. Okay, what happened? The event that sparked that shocked me was in 1956. My brother was born. That shocked me.
Okay.
Because,
When were you born?
I was born in 1945.
Okay, nice. So very quickly after.
So I was 11 years old when my brother was born.
Okay.
We went to Bear Mountain State Park for the July 4th weekend. Mm-hmm. And, kids weren't afraid at that time. They just went off. I went into the pool. I was puttering around. And a man came over to the side and he said to me, take me to your father. He had a Polish accent. Mm-hmm. In those days, no one was afraid of anybody. I brought him to my father, and they hugged and they kissed. And I said, "Mommy, who is this man? How did he know that I was Daddy's daughter?" And she said to me, "You have your sister's eyes."
And that was the first time you heard that.
I never knew I had a sister. She never mentioned my sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I asked her to talk about it. Tell me, what are you talking about? She said, I can't talk about it. I'll tell you someday.
Wow. And when did that someday happen? How long after?
Okay. In 1989.
9? It took that long?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
You see, so we started in Sheepshead Bay, and then we went to, which was a very kind of Jewish and, but American Jewish community, and then we went to Valley Stream.
Now, let me ask you, did you go in Sheepshead Bay when you went to school? Did you go to public school?
No, I didn't go to public school. I went to a nursery school. It was a wonderful nursery school, and I can tell you that the day my mother left me there, I cried and cried and cried, and the teachers started singing to me, "You must have been a beautiful baby." It was crazy. It was like, that it was the, right now it was a Coast Guard, whatever you call that, Coast Guard station, yes, at the time. And in any case,
And when did you move to Valley Stream?
We moved to Valley Stream in 1951, and my first school there was in the first grade.
Mm-hmm. All right. And you went to public school?
And I went to public school.
All right.
In Valley Stream. Mm-hmm. Clearstream Avenue School, wonderful teachers. Mm-hmm. But no, my mother, what I wanted to say was they went to temple there. My father went to temple on, we're not religious, but we went to temple. And then my mother on Yom Kippur would stay in bed. I said, "Mommy, come to shul with Daddy and me." She said, "This is the one day that I take to mourn for my family." Mm-hmm. But not talking about a daughter.
Right.
My family.
Right. And briefly, not to, so, your family got out, but obviously family was left behind.
All of my mother's parents were from Łódź. They somehow or other got to outside of Warsaw. They were taken to the Warsaw Ghetto, and then they were taken to Treblinka. I found that out after a long time later.
And your father?
My father, because they worked in Belgium, And because they were not religious, my mother's family was Orthodox. Can I just say something about my mother's mother's grandfather? His name was Avram Meyer Kaplan. He was a manufacturer of denim products. When Russia became communist and stopped importing from Poland, my mother said you could paper the walls with złotys. They were useless. So what he did was he took his money and he invested in real estate, and he bought 2 large apartment buildings on Piotrkowska Street, which is the Broadway of Łódź. 120 apartments, 14 stores. Okay, it figures in later to the story.
Right.
So she's all right. In 1989, you want to go forward to 1989?
Yeah. Go to when you find out about your sister.
Oh, well, in 1989...
When you do the interview. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead. Because that shapes you as the 2G, and that's the pivotal point that we want to focus on. So go ahead.
In 1989, I sat on January the 1st, 1989. My brother and I sat my mother down, and I said, "Mommy, I want you to tell us about your family and what happened." She said, "Well, who's going to care? Who's going to care about it?" I said, "We care about it, and our family in the future will care about it." Mm-hmm. So we did a 2.5-hour interview, which I have edited down to 16 minutes, which is not easy.
Yeah, which is,
But it's the basis, it becomes the basis of my book. But even in that interview...
The book?
Oh, my book?
My Sister's Eyes.
My Sister's Eyes.
Right.
But even in that interview, my mother never talked about her baby. Mm-hmm. In the end of the interview, I said, Mommy, tell us about your baby. No, I can't. Yeah. That's 1989. 1998, communism fell in Poland, and there was an opportunity for Polish Jews to go back and reclaim their property.
1998. Well, I thought it was 91 at the.
It fell, okay. And then
all right, and there was because I was in Poland in 94, and it was already no longer communist.
Oh
so,
yeah.
Yeah. So all right,
you'll have to tell us about that.
So go ahead.
Okay. But in about 1998, for me, there became an window of opportunity to go back and reclaim properties. Right. My son, our son was born in Israel, and he just finished being a lone soldier. He went back to be a lone soldier.
In the IDF.
In the IDF. Yeah. And I said to him, Guy, come with me, because a little girl with very dark black hair at the time, it's not safe snooping around in Poland.
Right.
So he came with me the first time. It took me 5 visits to Poland. He didn't come each time. I had other people come with me to recuperate those properties. And I'm very proud to say I was the 3rd person to recuperate those properties in Łódź. You can't do it anymore.
Wow. So that whole of those apartment buildings and everything.
Yes. Wow. I wanted to keep them. And there were stores on the Broadway of Łódź. I wanted to run it as a hospitality business, but my mother's very good friend said, take the money and run. Mm-hmm. So we did.
Okay. All right.
But in any case, where was I going? Now, so when I came back, I said, okay, Mom, now you have to tell me about my sister. Right. At that point, she handed me an album with all her pictures in it that I had never seen before. And on the inside cover was written Yvonne, 1938 to 1941. 1942, excuse me.
Now, was your father still alive at this point?
No.
No.
He died in 81.
He died in 81.
So she never spoke her name.
Wow. So, because we need to know, can you briefly tell us what happened to Yvonne? I mean, I know the story, but so you're in Jamaica. Your parents are in Jamaica. Yvonne is in Jamaica with your parents.
Yes.
And they were staying where when they got to the British Jamaica and the British West Indies?
It was a Gibraltar camp. They were put in Gibraltar camp. I found out later that they were classified as enemy aliens.
Okay.
But everybody in all British colonies, people were classified as enemy aliens. They lived in barracks. My mother said, if you sneeze, the people in the next cubicle would say Gesundheit.
Right.
So, okay. My father because the people in the British, or the English there were they went to the army for the war. My father became a teacher at Jamaica College. It's a high school, but they call it Jamaica College.
Okay.
So instead of just going on a bus like everybody else, he got himself a bicycle because this man was independent. He got a bicycle. He put a chair on the back, and Yvonne, he used to ride Yvonne around. And one day, the bicycle tripped on rocks. I don't know what happened. It fell. The bicycle tipped over. She fell. Her leg was crushed underneath it. He ran to the infirmary, a very small infirmary on the camp, and the commandant there kept her there. Her fever was rising. After maybe 10 days, I don't know how much longer, they took her to a hospital, but it was too late, and she died there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so I just like to say, okay, my mother couldn't speak, my father
Right.
never spoke about it, and my mother couldn't even mention her name when she finally had to give me all those pictures that I have in my book of her.
Right. So now that you know all of this knowledge, and you are married, you have your own son, you have one, do you have more? 2, 3?
2 sons and a daughter.
2 sons and a daughter. So you're established, you're also a teacher and an educator. When did you decide to write My Sister's Eyes, and how did that process happen? And why? Why did you feel compelled to tell the rest of the world your family story? So the book is obviously about your family, their journey, about Sousa Mendes and what he did. Why? That's the real question. Why? Why, Joan? Why did you want to do it?
Okay. First, I'm going to tell you how.
Okay.
In 2013, I came back to the United States. I had a little project in Italy that I did for 10 or 12 years. I came back in 2013. I said, okay, so now what am I going to do? I said, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to use the interview, and I'm going to write a book. So I Googled Portugal, 1940. And I found Sousa Mendes, and I found the Sousa Mendes Foundation.
Right.
And that was 2012. In 2013, I did my first journey on the road to freedom, which is the Sousa Mendes journey, which tracks the story.
Right.
It tells the story. I met other children of survivors.
And just for our audience to know, Sousa Mendes, there were 2 other very famous people, not that your family isn't famous or important, but Sousa Mendes also saved the Rays, who were the authors of Curious George.
Yes.
Okay, who actually left with the manuscript of Curious George in their little knapsack.
Correct.
And Sousa Mendes also saved Salvador Dali and his wife. Not Jewish, but a refugee of the Spanish Civil War. So, we like to recognize Sousa Mendes did many great things.
As well as 10,000
Right.
unknown people.
People, exactly.
Like
your
we
family.
were before my book.
Yes, yes.
Right?
So you have such great photographs in your book and the documents. And, again, as I wouldn't say Holocaust historian, but as a Holocaust educator, I'm always fascinated, and it's so important to have the photos, the documents, the paperwork when you're telling a story, okay? I mean, there are many people that don't. Not that takes away from their story, but when you have the facts right in front of you, it's kind of hard or harder to deny, even though we know that Holocaust denial is, we're not, it happens all the time, even with the documents. How did you have all these photographs and documents?
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
When my parents finally arrived in the United States on October the 3rd in 1943, my father started working here, schlepping boxes in Soho. Then he moved up to, because he had precision instrument technology education, he moved into selling scales to weigh diamonds and gold. Can I show this?
Yeah, yes, certainly. You can hold that up.
This is his first brochure. And on the back it says, Robert I. Arnay, reliable always. And how did they pick the name Arnay? Because his name was Krakowiak. He and his brothers, he had 3 brothers here in the United States, wanted to be number 1 in
In the phone book.
the phone book.
So Arnay was...
So they put themselves with an A. And also they had been living in France a lot, and Darnay, Charles Darnay, you know. Mm-hmm. So anyway.
Yes. Okay.
So where did I go? Where did
All
I
right.
go
So
now?
your father,
So-
has the business.
So in 1945 or so, I don't remember exact what date it was, he said, well, you know, I'm just schlepping boxes. Maybe I'll go back to, before he started this business, maybe I'll go back to Europe and start something again, go back to Belgium. He went back to Belgium, and he went to the home, the apartment where they had been before they left, before they ran. And the lady kept every single one of their artifacts, their albums. No, that's just pictures. Yeah. She kept their the things from their wedding. Wow. Silver and crystal, a service for 8.
Yeah, she could have sold all of that.
Oh.
I mean, it was war. It was a terrible, terrible. The winter of 44 into 45 was one of the worst winters in Europe ever. I mean, she could have.
Absolutely.
You know.
And among those things was a ladle, a huge soup ladle that I used to, you know, take care of my son with when he got out of line.
So your father went back and got all
went
of this
back,
stuff.
and he saw that's not for him, but he brought everything back.
And that's
And all the pictures that you see from before the war are because of that lady. And I don't know her name, but I do know her address, but I don't know her name.
Wow.
Maybe I can do a little more research. And
yeah.
honor her.
Yes, that would be nice, or at least get in touch with her children, because she's obviously no
absolutely,
longer alive.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I think the family deserves to know that their mother did the right thing when so many people did not.
Yes. Yeah,
right?
I agree
so
with
many
you.
people did not and did such terrible things. But, okay, so that's where you got all of that from. And then you decided, how long did it take to put the book together?
I had a very good graphic designer who I met in a tarot class from New Jersey.
Okay.
Very, very wonderful lady. And it took me, I said 2 years.
Right. Yeah, because I think we met in 2015 time frame, right? I think it was around there.
I published in 14.
Yeah, 14.
2014,
all right, yeah.
I published the book.
So I think, maybe it was a little later. Maybe it was 2016 or 17 when I first had you come to my temple and you did your presentation and you sold the book. And then as supervisor of Nassau BOCES School Library System at the end of my career, I had you come in right before COVID. It's crazy. But that was the other journey. And then you were still living in New Jersey at that time. Now we're back on Long Island, which is great because the plan is for you to be part of our Speakers Bureau here and tell this story, especially to our younger schools that come in. Okay, even though the story has its own horrors and issues, it's still a happy story overall. And we talk about rescue.
It's not a happy story.
Well,
no,
all right.
Excuse me. I just want to say, I feel once when I was still living in New Jersey, I don't know where I was living. I went to an astrologer. Mm-hmm. And she said to me, "You're going to inherit a lot of money." So I said, "No, that's not possible because my father was gone. My mother was living very modestly. That's not possible." So I didn't believe her. And then she said, "Just give me your hand," because she read palms too. And she said, "You have the soul of a child who died in a refugee camp."
Wow. Amazing.
So I do have her soul.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel her pain.
Yeah.
And I feel it today.
Yeah.
And it's part of what motivates me to go to schools. I've been to universities, synagogues, elementary schools. I even spoke at my granddaughter's school in Manhattan because they do immigration. So I tailored the story for immigration. Nothing about my sister really, but immigration. Mm-hmm. And this is what motivates me to go to schools and to aim my story to young people who still can be molded to understand.
Right. We want empathy. That's one of the number one things we do here at the center. or we want to do, is create and promote empathy. 'Cause when
Humanity
you
matters.
Exactly. When you are empathetic and when you can put yourself in someone else's shoes and you can feel their pain, it changes your whole perspective in life.
and you know-
and that is a key part of human character.
You know what I found with my book and my story? That not only that it reaches young people, but it reaches old men. Old men told me they've cried when they read it.
Yeah, sure.
So
Yes.
it's a gamut.
Yeah, it's got it is wonderful, and the fact that it's so historical and document driven really makes it a win in that sense, because it's not just a story; it's a historical documented legacy journey. So
So if I could just take
Yes,
a
go
minute
right.
about where I'm going.
Yes,
with
that
this-
would be
with this
wonderful.
story.
Please.
My next iteration of this story will be in an animated short. I met a young man who's in the animation business. His name is Matt Allenson. He's an attorney, but he was studied in Jamaica, British West Indies, and somehow I was introduced to him. So he latched onto my story. He said, let's do this. He's an attorney, but he's also in an animation business. He said, let's put this so that young people, we can get to young people. Because how much time does any child spend in a book anymore?
Right. Well, you know what? It's everybody learns with different mediums, and I believe that the more ways that you can present the story, the better off you are. Right. So one doesn't take away from the other; it only enhances.
Exactly.
And maybe that seeing that animated short, will then lead a child to pick the book up where they wouldn't have picked the book up if they hadn't seen the animated short. You don't know. So it's. Again, as an educator, I believe that the more the merrier. So I applaud that. I think that's wonderful. I can't wait till see that. And so any other parting as we're time is running short on our podcast. Any other parting words of wisdom that you would like to share with our audience today?
Oh, maybe not wisdom, but just that I am involved in education. When a teacher wants me to come and speak to her or his class, I bring a set of books for the class so they can read it. We have in the back of the book, there's a curricular unit. So that's where I want to go.
Yes.
Education.
More education. Absolutely. And as I said, we will have a little part 2 of this with our Education in Motion podcast. I want to thank you, Joan, for spending this time with us. And I know it's a painful story, even all this, every time that you tell it, but it is so powerful and a very unique story. So I'm glad that our audience got a chance to hear it today. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, share, subscribe. And until next time, Donna Rosenblum, HMTC.
If you enjoyed exploring the information, history, and stories in today's conversation, be sure to check out our other podcasts here on HMTV. Please subscribe, share, and stay connected for more engaging conversations.
Humanity Matters.